there's one player that's going to be suspended for 25 games. And, of course, that's Ja Morant. We know of the whole craziness that's been going on this whole offseason with him. So Adam Silver, as we talked about in previous episodes, had his ruling or whatever, knew what he was wanting to do, but wanted to wait for the NBA Finals to pass through to let everyone have their glory on the NBA Finals, which has now come to pass. Spoke with Ja, the whole 9 yards on that, and now we hear this that 25 games suspended. A lot of people are kind of actually. I've heard a lot of people almost saying that they're upset that they didn't think that much. I myself was saying 20 games because I felt like if half the season was kind of weird. So 25, I think, is okay because there's so many different things going involved with this. I don't think any suspension would have made everyone happy. So you got to go with something on this. I want to go ahead. CJ, you look like you're ready to talk on it. So what you got on this? What do you think about the 25 games?
Yeah, I think 25 is it's cool. It's cool. I think I thought initially after the second video came out and everything, it looked possible. He might miss half the season. Mm-hmm. I think that was the reaction, for everybody, because how the second incident happened so quick after the first one. Yes. It was like it seemed like it was a lack of respect there because he had only missed 8 games the first time. But he came out with a statement after the suspension came out. He apologized, said he's going to take this time to work on his mental health and everything. Cool, great. Hope he does. Hope he's doing that now, honestly. And he really locks in. And again, like I've said the last 2 videos and the last time we talked about Ja, surrounding himself with the right people, and just continue just doing the right thing, bro. Just doing the right thing because it's bigger than what you do on the court. Clearly. So I think 25 games. Ineligible for any type of all NBA stuff, so he's missing out on a substantial lot of money this year. So this is a wake-up call, man. This is a wake-up call for him, for sure. Even with the 25 games, there's some things, some thresholds he has to meet. That's what Woj was saying, and some guidelines that he has to go through in order to still be reinstated and come back to the team. So hopefully he checks all those boxes as well, and gets back to playing and hooping, man. Because again, it's not like he's on a bad team. They were the second seed they were the third seed, and no, they were second seed. They were the second seed in the West, and he's a phenomenal player, one of the best players in the NBA. Only going to be playing 57 games this year. Everybody talked about how well they played 2 years ago when he wasn't out there. It was a 21-5, something like that, when Tyus Jones came in there and played well. We'll see if they're able to duplicate that. Taylor Jenkins is a great head coach. They need a wing. I think they're going to make a trade here for one of those wings. Could be Anunoby, could be Siakam, someone like that. To kind of improve this roster. And when he comes back, I expect him to still play at a high level. I don't expect anything to change there. So again, I think he should be grateful. It could have been worse. This was David Stern, probably would have got half the season. Knowing David Stern, how strict he was back in the day with everything and dress codes and things like that, he had zero tolerance with any type of things because it just, especially at a guy as Ja caliber, because it just looks bad from a business standpoint for the league. These organizations, these companies, giving the NBA all this type of money, and then you have your top guy doing something like that. They're, representatives of those top companies showing the videos to Adam Silver. That's not a good look. That's a bad look for your league. So he should be very grateful it wasn't anything worse than that. And hopefully he's learned from the decisions that he's made, and he locks in and gets it together.
Yeah, 25 games is pretty light. The only thing that I can really say about it is, this is Adam Silver's league. And CJ alluded to, if this was David Stern, well, we all know David Stern was was very strict. I mean, especially in the early 2000s, especially after that Malice in the Palace situation when he suspended Artest the rest of that season, and then he ended up bringing in a dress code, so everybody had to wear suit, tie, and everything. Even I remember an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game when they had Carmelo, and Carmelo was talking about how David Stern pulled up on him. So, it's definitely a different situation compared to what it was about 15, 20 years ago. But I just hope that Ja can really utilize this situation as an opportunity to obviously, take care of his mental health, do whatever it is that he needs to do, change his environment if he needs to, separate himself from any bad influencers per se, and just come back a better person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're a franchise guy. You are a leader. I know sometimes a lot of guys don't want to embrace that leadership role or that role model role, but at the end of the day, sometimes you're just kind of in it, especially when young kids look up to you. I mean, I know that CJ talks about, that kids shouldn't look up to entertainers, but it's kind of difficult, especially when you look at a basketball player and you're just amazed by what they do on the court. You're going to look at them and say, hey, I want to be them. I did the same thing with guys like Kobe, guys like Trace McGrady, LeBron, so I can understand from a child's perspective. But as for Ja, it's just the same mistake twice. I don't look at him as any differently. He just made crazy mistakes. He's made dumb mistakes. He's still a great player. I also think that he's a pretty good person. And look, I mean, honestly, I don't know what the Grizzlies are going to do. I don't know if they're going to let Tyus Jones just run as their starting point guard, or if they're going to possibly grab somebody else. I know that there were rumors after Chris Paul was waived by the Suns that they could possibly use him. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think that's going to happen. But honestly, looking at the situation for the Grizzlies, I think that they'll be fine. Will it be a top 2 seed in the West? I don't know. But I mean, I still think that they have a pretty decent roster to be at least 4 or 5 or possibly 6 by the time Ja gets back. You still got Jaren Jackson Jr. You still got guys like Desmond Bane. So to me, and then of course, the offseason's here now, so they could possibly acquire some guys in the trade or possibly acquire some role players in free agency. So we'll just see how this offseason turns out for them. But as for Ja, just look at the situation as an opportunity to get better and possibly, look to come back, even better than what you were before.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say this. I'm glad we finally have a conclusion to what has happened in a way. It's been a while since the incident. We didn't know what was going on. It's kind of lingered on the conversation with Silver, and now a lot of predicting of what the suspension would be. He knows he did wrong as far as being caught. Who knows how he really feels about what was going on. Hopefully he lines himself out and is more of a role model, what we actually need for a younger generation that looks up to this guy. 25 games. Technically, I don't think he was suspended from the last incident by the NBA. I think the first one, he actually stepped out himself, and it was like a team suspension, more or less. So technically, I think this is the first suspension from the NBA. I
thought it was 8 games they gave him.
I thought that was Grizzlies and self-induced, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, he ended up stepping away right after the first video on Instagram ended up coming out, and then I think maybe a week later, Adam Silver gave him an 8-game suspension or something like that.
So yeah. Silver did suspend him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the Grizzlies and NBA joint, but this one is just the NBA.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think the Grizzlies probably did. Well, this is all me. I don't know if it's reliable or not. But I'm just saying, I'd say the Grizzlies did the suspension trying to keep the NBA from getting in. The NBA said, yes, we agree with it. We're suspending him with you like that. Now, this is the NBA saying, hey, your 8-game didn't work. This is us coming in being the boss.
Yeah.
So I feel like the 25 is technically still the NBA's first. If there's something that happens again, he's done for the year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen.
So I think this is a warning, and it'd be kind of hard to suspend someone a half a season as a warning. To me, if you're going to do a half a game, you might as well just go ahead.
You consider this a warning?
I think so.
I think it's a warning, man, for the rest of the league too. It's like, man, if you do anything like this that Ja did, it'll be worse for you.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, okay, we gave him 25 games. If any other
and he showed a gun, like. Let's be honest. Technically, we know we've said this before. He didn't break a law or anything, but he showed a gun on IG Live for people to see on this. and he got 25 games.
But that's
So,
the thing, though. I mean, it's like yeah, he didn't break a law, but it's really just like how he did it, though. Like, you're listening to like to music, and then it's like you're dancing around with a gun and everything. I mean, it's not the fact that he had a gun. I mean, I'm sure there's other NBA players that have guns. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not illegal to have a. Well, it may be illegal in certain states, but I mean, some states it's not illegal. So it's like it's not the fact that he had a gun. It was like how he was flashing and how he was using it.
Right. Well, you can't really penalize someone for flashing a gun, I don't think, as far as like, hey, you're out for the whole season. So I that's why I feel like this is a warning. Hey, what you did was dumb. Let's just be man to man about this. That was pretty ballsy to sit here and have a gun flashing around since you just had one. So you're going to be suspended for 25 games. We could do more, but let's hope that this dips it in the bud and everyone else knows that we mean business. And if it happens again, probably your career's done. Oh, okay, Dad. I got it. I see what you're laying down. You could have done more to me, but you're a player's commissioner. So I thank you for showing me some mercy on this, some grace, and I will do better, or I'm out of the league, and I understand.
Yeah, this is not only just a wake up call to Ja, it's also to the rest of the league. And I mean, let's be real, it's going to be another player that's going to do something and mess up again. It's going to happen because somebody thinks they're invincible. So, but the penalty is going to be worse than what than what this is right here. So,
if the gun went off, he's done for the season, I think.
Yeah, it's just like you said. I'm just glad there's an end to this. And then I finally people could just focus on basketball now. Yeah, he could focus on locking in not only as a player but as a young man. Because now this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do, man. And when he gets older, even right now, talk to some people, let them know, like, listen, could have been much worse. Could have went much worse. Anything could have happened in those lives, in those moments. We see some crazy videos out here on the internet with people playing around with firearms. So, just. Glad there's a conclusion. 25 games. Stay off social media like he has been, at least publicly. Obviously, you're on social media. Like, it's just the times we're living in. But in terms of posting anything, they're just focusing on what you need to focus on, and keeping the main thing, and wishing the best. So.
Absolutely.